Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another tutorial. It's me IJ, and today we have a very beautiful project to deal with. For my returning subscribers, you guys are amazing. If today is your first time of checking on this channel, of seeing my channel, you are appreciated. Thanks a million times. And if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Consider supporting me to grow this channel. Today's tutorial is a very beautiful tutorial. You don't need to look for material. Do you have materials flying around all the corners of your shop, of your house, anywhere you are practicing? Do you have leftover materials? Gather them and come so that we will use it to DIY a circular maxi gown. It's going to have a stripe and a off-shoulder sleeve. It is very easy to achieve. You can see it's right behind me on the screen. That is what we are going to DIY today. We're going to use our leftover materials to DIY this. You can also use a normal Ankara full material to DIY this project, but today I want us to make use of our leftover materials so that it is not going to be a waste. So guys, without wasting your time, let us get started. So now guys, I made use of different Ankara patches, but I'm going to show to you guys how I achieve it. I use this Ankara material to cut out the back. I'll use this to cut out the back, and the patches I will make use of it on the front. So now I measured all the patches that I have. Each one I measured 10 by 10. That is, here is 10, the length is 10, and the width is 10. That is what I measured. In making this project, you don't need to say I will measure 20, I'll cut out 20 or 30. You cut out as much as possible because it depends on the length of the gown we are making. Like the one I'm making, the length is 60 plus 2 inches seam allowance, that is 62. So I need a very large amount of Ankara pieces that I will cut out. Some, if you cut out is not enough, you can join it. As long as it's the same material, you can join it together and get the number of measurements you want. You can make use of 8 by 8, 10 by 10, 12 by 12. It depends on your choice. My own choice, I made use of 10 by 10. The width is 10 and the length is 10. I cut out different pieces of it. So now, after cutting it out, I cut out a lot of it. I cut out a lot. So after cutting it out, I start joining it together. That is, I join it together. Do you see it? I join each line, I join 8 pieces. Each line, I join 8 pieces. And I made use of 5 lines. After joining it, then I now sew it together. That is, now I'll take these two, I'll sew it. I'll put another one, I'll sew it. That is the way I now achieve this. As you can see, that's the length. Do you see it? This is now different Ankara patches. Do you see it? This is different Ankara patches. So I joined 8 in one line, 8 in another line. I joined 5 lines, 8 pieces in one line. So I had 5 lines. So I joined them together. So after joining them together now, I had full length of what I needed. That is how I achieve it. So now let us start drafting our material. Now guys, I've folded my material. So now we are going to insert our vertical measurement. What we need in this kind of maxi dress is the bust measurement, so that we can achieve the upper part. The down part is the length. The length depends on your choice. Like I said, mine is a maxi one, as you can see on the photo. So now, what do you need? Your bust measurement. And the bust measurement, you are going to trace it here to know where your bust measurement falls. For instance, I'm working with bust measurements 9.5. That is 38 divided by 4, which is 9.5. I'll add one seam allowance, which is 10.5. So I'm going to use my tape now to check where I have 10.5. So here I have 10.5. Do you see it? Here I have 10.5. So from the tape, I will now mark a straight line. I will use the tape. Do you see it? Here is my 10.5. On this 10.5, on this bust measurement, I'm going to insert my shoulder measurement. And the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 8 inches. So I'm going to mark 8 inches. Here is the 8 inches. I'll mark 8 inches. So on this shoulder measurement that I mark 8 inches, I will come in by 2.5 or 2 inches. You can come in by 2 inches or 2.5. I'll come in by 2.5. That is here. This is 2.5 that I came in from the shoulder measurement. 2.5, that is here. And from this 2.5, I will go up by 4 inches. This is just to achieve our armhole. Here is 4 inches. I've gone up by 4 inches. So from this 4 inches, I'll connect it to the shoulder, to the bust measurement as my armhole. So here I'll connect from this 4 inches that I came up, I'll connect it to the armhole. Do you see it? I've connected it to the armhole. So now on the chest side, to determine how deep I want it to be, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. Remember, we are working from this chest measurement. So I'll come up by 2 inches. Here is my 2 inches. If you want it to be too deep, you can make it to come up by 1 inch or 1.5. But for me, 2 inches is okay. So I came up by 2 inches. So from these 2 inches, I will now connect it to these 4 inches that we came up with. Do you see it? You can make it a round neckline. You can make it a sweetheart. You can make it a V. Any one of your choice is perfect. So now we have achieved the upper part. That is why I said it's only your bust measurement that you need in making this kind of cloth, and also the length of the gown you want. You want it maxi, you determine your length. You want it short, you determine also your length. So from here now, we are going to achieve the length of this gown that we are making. I want the length to be 60 inches. So from here now, I'm going to place my, remember, when making ordinary cloth, you go by the chest measurement. So here now is, we assume this is our chest measurement. Here that we inserted our bust measurement. So I'm going to place 8 inches because I normally use 8 inches as my armhole measurement. So I'll place 8 inches there to determine the length of this gown that we are making. So now I place 8 inches, and the length we are working with is 60. So let me bring it up. So this is my 60 inches. Here is my 60 inches plus 2 seam allowance. Here is my 60 inches plus 2 seam allowance for the folding. So I'm going to measure it through. I'm going to measure it through. So now, guys, I've measured it through. So from here now, from this bust measurement here, that is the 10.5 inches that we are using, I'm going to connect it down to the 62 inches there. So let's connect. I want to make use of the maximum so that it will flow good. So I'm going to connect it till there. So this is the point here. So the next thing now is just to cut it out. But remember, now one part of this cloth we are drafting is going to be enough, while the one that is inside, do you see it? This one inside is going to be short because of the cloth that we are using. Because of the length and the wide, this is going to be short. So when we cut it out now, we are going to place another material here. That is the pieces of this. We are going to use the pieces of this to place back and measure it out and cut it. I'll do that and I'll show it to you guys also. So now let us cut it out. So now guys, we have cut it out. Do you see it? We have cut it out. Do you see it? We have cut it out. Remember, we are going to use this to cut our Ankara patches. This is not the patches. This is ordinary Ankara material. So we are going to use this back now to cut the front, which is the patches. But before then, I'm going to place another pieces here to complete this. Remember, it is short because of the length of the maxi gown we are making. The length is much, so it could not contain it. So we are going to place another material here to cut it out. So now get your leftover material. Do you see it? Place it in this form. Place it 1/2 inch on top of the other, because you are going to use the 1/2 inch to sew it together. Do you see it? Place it in this form 1/2 inch because you are going to use it. Then put this on top. Do you see it? Then from there, you now cut it out. Do you see it? I'm going to do that and I'll show it to you. So guys, you see, I have cut it out. Do you see it? So I've cut it out now. Do you see it? So after sewing it together, then I'll just trim it off. So now, let us cut out the patches. So now guys, do you see the patches that I have just done? So I'm going to place it and now cut out the front parts. Like I said, each of the line is 8. Then I join them together, which I have 5 lines. Do you see it? So I'm going to place the back panel to it and use it to cut it out. So now let me cut it and I'll show it to you guys. Use the back panel to cut out our patches. Do you see it? Do you see how it is? Different Ankara patches that I use. Like I said, cut it out as many as you can. Join them together. In each line, I joined 8 and I made 5 rows. So this is what I use it now. And also, remember, on this side is not complete. Then I have to also put another one to complete it. So look at it now. This is our Ankara patches that will be in the front. Do you see how beautiful it is? Do you see it? We need to be a little bit creative. Being fashion designers, we need to be creative to achieve our goals. Do you see how it is? Different faces of Ankara fabrics are here. So now the next thing to do now is to cut out my facing. I'll cut out my facing. I've made series of videos where I cut out facing. You can check it out. I'll also link it in this in the description box below. I'll also link it in the description box below for you to check it out if you don't know how to cut out facing. But it's simple. Just take the front, place it on your material, on your leftover material, cut it out so that you use it to turn. Why I'm using the facing is because we are going to add our stripe and also fix our sleeve. Remember, it's sort of a cold shoulder sleeve, so we are going to fix it. So I'm going to cut out the facing now. So after cutting out the facing, I'll now join all these ones. That is the one that we use to make it up. I'm going to join it. After joining it, I'll show it to you guys. Then we will now achieve our sleeve. Remember, this gown we are making will also have pockets. So I'm going to cut out the pocket. I'm going to use the leftover fabrics to cut out the pocket. I'm going to show to you guys, also show you the sleeve. Then we'll fix it together. And our maxi gown is ready. Now guys, I've joined the pieces that was not enough. Do you see it? I've joined it and I've given it a good press. So now the panel is complete. Do you see it? So the panel is complete. That's the back. And also the front, which is the patches. I've done the same. I've completed it. Is this side. I've completed it and I've given it a press also. So now our panel is complete. When you do it in that form, nobody knows that you joined anything because it's free. Do you understand? So you make use of your leftovers to complete where that is short. So guys, check out the Ankara patches. So beautiful. So now the next thing to do is to start fixing them together. But before then, let me show to you guys our, remember, it's going to have stripe. So I've cut out my stripe. That is my stripe. I've cut it out on fold. I cut it out 1.5 inch on fold. Do you see it? 1.5 inch on fold. And the length, I make use of 11 inches. That is 1/2 inch to join it and 1/2 inch to join at the back, 1/2 inch to join at the front. Then I'll be left with 10 inches. You can make use of 10 inches depending on how low or high you want to make it. So I have 2 stripes here, and also I've cut out the facing. Like I said, just place the main material on the leftover fabric that you have and trace out the neckline exactly how it is, and also determine the length you want it to be. So I've cut it out, and now that we are going to use this leftover material to cut out our pockets. So I have 4 pieces here. This is my 4 pieces of the patches. So I have enough patches. So this left ones, I will use it to cut out my pockets. Like I said, our gown is going to have a pocket. If you like, you can do yours without pockets. It still look beautiful. I want it to have a pocket. So the 4 of it, I place them together to determine my pocket. So I'll place my hand in this form. So guys, I'll now place my hand in this form to determine the shape of my pocket. Do you see it? So I'll go this form. Do you see it? So I will now cut it out. You can do your pocket as large as you want. Depends on your choice. You want it to be small, but make sure it's not less than 7 inches so that your hand can be free with it. So let's see what mine is. Yes, I have 9 inches, including seam allowance. So it's okay for me, but let it not be less than 7 inches. Let it not be less than 7 inches. Otherwise, it cannot fit good. So 9 inches is perfect. So that is now my pocket. So I'll keep it aside. And now the sleeve, I'm going to go with my off-shoulder sleeve. Remember, it's going to have a cold shoulder sleeve. So I've cut it out. That's my sleeve. I've cut it out. I use the measurement of my off-shoulder sleeve. I've made series of videos on how to cut an off-shoulder sleeve. So I've cut it out. So now here is the starting point. Here is the starting point of my sleeve. But I added 2 inches so that I'll use it to turn it. Do you see it? These 2 inches above is to turn it. And here is the length of the length is 10 plus also 2 inches to turn it at the down. So I have 10 inches length of the sleeve. So now, do you see how I curved the sleeve? I didn't want it to be straight in this form. I want it to be curved. So that is the way I'm going to fold it when I'm folding it. So I'm going to fold it in this form and also fold it in this form. That is the way the sleeve is going to be. Do you see it? I'm going to fold it in this form, and I'll sew it. Then I'll close it up. Do you see it? So that is the way the sleeve is going to be. The sleeve is going to be in this form. So the next thing to do now is to couple our panels together. So I'm going to fix it. Remember, it's just taking your panels. Now let us measure where we want our pockets to be. Remember, from this chest line that our armhole is, is our chest measurement. So from there, we are going to determine where we are going to insert our pockets. So remember, this is our chest line. That is, mine is 8 inches. I will place my 8 inches here. Then I'll measure to my waist. My waist is 16 inches. So from my waist here, 16 inches, I'll come down to 7 inches. I'll measure 7. Do you see it? I'll measure 7 or 8 inches. Let me measure 7 inches. So I'm going to notch it. So this is where our pocket is going to be. So I'm going to notch it, and I'm going to notch here also. So from here, notch now to do the same to the other side, and also to do on the front of our material. That is the patches on the front side. Then just take your pocket. This is my pocket now. I'll now take it. So this is the wrong side of my material. I'll now get the right side of the pocket. This is the right side of the pocket. I'll just place it in this form where I notched. Do you see it here that I notched? I will place it there. I'll place it there. Do you see it? So I will sew it together, and I'll also place another one at this side on the same measurement. I'll sew it together. Then after which I will now close it with the front panel, and our pocket is ready. So I'm going to do that, and I'll come back to show it to you. So guys, this is the back side where we attach the pocket. Do you see it? Like I said, just attach it right side facing each other, and while closing it up, you take the inches also to close it up. That's the pocket. Do you see it? And that's the other side of the pocket. Now we have attached our front and back panel together. That's the right side. Here is the right side of it. So we have attached them together. Do you see it? Do you see it? It's a very large circular flare. Do you see it? So the next thing now to do is to attach our sleeve. Remember, it's going to have sleeve and also sort of cold shoulder sleeve. And I've joined them together. This is our sleeve, like I told you guys, that is going to be a little bit of fancy at the tip of it. Look at it. That's the sleeve. That is the way it's going to be. Instead of being straight, I gave it a little bit of curve. Do you see it? So now the other thing you can do on the sleeve, if you like, you can insert elastic on this one that is going to be on the shoulder here. You can insert a little bit elastic if you want. Then if you don't want, you can attach it in that form. If you measure your bicep here, you divide it in 2. Anything you have, divide it in 2. Then you insert the elastic on it and you close it up. So the next thing to do after the elastic, I'm now going to insert the sleeve. Do you see it? I'm going to insert it in this form. I'm going to insert it. And here is our facing. Remember, we also cut out our facing. We'll use our facing to turn it. And remember our stripe. Like I said, you can measure out 10 inches depending on how you want it to be on your shoulder. So that's the way we are going to place it. Do you see it? We are going to place it in this form. Do you see it? So I'm going to use the facing to turn it, And also I'm going to fix our sleeve, after which I'll now put it on the mannequin for us to see how our project looks like. Now guys, this is the end product of our circular maxi gown with Ankara patches that we have just DIY. Do you see how beautiful it is? A very long maxi circular gown that we have just DIY. Do you see how beautiful it is? If you want, you can forget about the sleeve and make use of the stripe, or you can also make it in this form. Do you see how gorgeous and beautiful it looks? The front is with patches and the back is with ordinary Ankara material. So guys, let me show you the back. Now guys, this is the back. Do you see how beautiful the back is also? It looks like also patches. Do you see it with the flowered Ankara material that we use for the back? Do you see how beautiful it is? So simple to make, but beautiful. So now guys, let us see how it will look if we decide to rock it with a belt. Okay guys, do you see how it is when you decide to put it on with belts? So beautiful. Do you see it? This is optional. If you like, you use belt. If you don't like, you put it on the way it is. It can serve as a maternity wear. That is expected mothers can use it as their maternity wear. And also those that love free gown, this is also suitable for them. So if this tutorial on how to achieve this beautiful maxi circular gown has been helpful to you, don't forget to like, share, and comment on my videos. And if you have not subscribed, subscription is free. Try to lift me up by subscribing. Grow this channel with me by subscribing and hitting on the notification bell, that whenever I upload, you'll be notified. Love you guys and see you in my next video. Bye bye.